You want hot sauce too?
No, I don't
Welcome
need
to the
hot
Mayor
sauce.
Joe Taylor Show. Jeff Underwood, J-Dub White. What's up, buddy?
You know, I'm just here hanging out, basking in the glory of all things Joe Taylor. And that's a whole different show. That's a Kapow After Hours show.
Yeah, I don't think you want to talk about any of that.
But we want to bring on today Mr. Andy Hughes. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
So my first question is, why is your wife not here?
Well, she's baking for the market
Okay.
tomorrow.
And show this.
Speaking of.
This lady
Yeah.
knows what's going on.
Yes.
Goodness, look at that.
Yes,
So,
it.
yeah, that's a peanut brittle there. Papa's peanut brittle is affectionately named for Emily's dad, who handed down that recipe to us, and we were able to utilize that brittle to facilitate our mission trips for several years. Quite a few mission trips that we went on. We were able to sell that, and when the market came about, I needed some vendors. I needed some participation, so I approached her. I was like, "Hey, why don't you come on down there and set up a table? That'd be another tent there at the market to give us some advertising and things like that." So she obliged me and helped me out that way, and she makes really good baked goods and sourdough breads and things like that. And our daughters help us some, and it's a family affair with us.
That's
So
cool. You're a sourdough guy, right?
Man, please.
Yeah.
Come on, man. I'll take a good sour. Give me a loaf.
yeah.
So, Joe, how the heck you been?
Man, I'm good.
You've been out busy working.
I've been
and
doing it,
whatnot.
getting it done. Yeah, we had
yeah.
a ribbon cutting this morning for Whiteley Meadows Apartments, which is our senior living project that's been ongoing for about a year and a half, something like that. Andy.
Yeah.
And we did the ribbon cutting today. It's full.
Great day.
We knew that when you going in they already have a waiting list. They could start building tomorrow and probably not stay ahead of our need. Got a chance to hear from some of the tenants and just how God's blessed them by putting them there. One of the ladies that spoke, and Andy might want to chip in a little bit, but she talked about the day that her husband died. She found out that morning that she was going to get an apartment, and he was good. He knew she was going to be taken care of, and she was coming to a safe place. So it was a really, really emotional ribbon cutting. We don't have a lot of those, and not normal that your mayor gets up there and gets a little weepy, but I did. I mean,
I loved her tagline where she said, "People like us need a place like this."
Yes.
That just wrote itself.
It really
She was
did.
very genuine. Everybody.
Andy's
that
in his
spoke.
phone. Right there.
yeah, right.
People like us need a place like this.
Yeah, that'll be on the brittle.
Absolutely.
People like you need brittle like this.
I'm for it, man. So for ones that don't know, that's right next door to Blue Light Baptist Church.
It is.
12th
It's right next to the old Kmart, which
Yeah.
is 12th Street Baptist
Right.
Church,
Yeah.
and they're tucked back there. It's private, and man, it's just got a chance to go in and tour a lady's apartment and her be able to tell her story as well. And it was just so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they did this top notch. It's when we first brought this to the council, I had the people, the Paladin and also Olympia Construction and Olympia Development come to me and say, "Hey, we would like to do this." Well, we had known that several cities around us had turned them down, thinking that it was Section 8 or whatever, some controversial type program. But the truth is, it's not. It's a tax credit program, the same as the way that we built that mega site out there on the interstate. It's the same process. It's the same understanding of IRS law. These are built under IRS regulations versus housing and urban development regulations, and so it's just a place where the owners hold the property for at least 30 years. So 30 years from now, they'll still be paying the same person for their rent, and the rent has absolute control in place for these seniors 62 and over. And these people are now engaging into work, some part-time work in the area,
yeah.
volunteering, going to our churches, and and it's an increase in population. It's an immediate boost in population because most of them do come from the outside, which drives our census up. We know that we're not arguably, but we are the fastest growing city in Etowah County, and it's because we have a forward-thinking progressive council that's willing to look at the whole process and not just listen to the naysayers. And I think that's hard to beat. It's hard to find a group of people that can sit together and come to consensus. And we do that We're not behind the curtain doing it. We do it in open meetings, and but we're civil. You know, that's one of the things that I require and all of them require of me is that we treat each other like grown-ups and act like adults. And
Is that going to change now that Jerry Ramsey's on the council?
A little bit.
It has to
I've
somewhat.
already put that leash on.
Okay,
you know, so-
okay.
No, we know that Jerry's going to be a great fit for us. He already is. You know,
Sure.
Jerry's starting to show up for some of our things, and just watching him and Anita Bedwell transition that position has been really, really encouraging. You know, most of us don't get that. You know, we normally just get handled a piece of paper that's got some, crayon drawing on it and says, here, this is what you do from here, and that's tough. We don't need that. We need to understand that, Anita served this city, for a long, long time. Some people would say too long, but I will tell you that we would have loved to had Anita come back. It broke my heart when she told me that she was leaving, but it was what was best for her. She felt like she'd given her service to Rainbow City, and there's no doubt I can agree with it.
Sometimes you need to leave while you're still winning.
Yes,
Right.
You got to still be able to dunk the
just
basketball,
saying.
walk off the court.
Yeah, her short game's too good. I mean, she's
Yeah,
down
that's
low.
right.
See that post play?
She's got a chip.
It's because
in
she's eating the pecan brittle.
That's right.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
I'm in.
The pecan brittle.
Pecan. Pecan or pecan?
Pecan's what's by your
How do you
grandma's.
say? You're the expert. How do you say it?
Pecan.
He
Thank
said
you.
pecan, yeah.
Yeah. A
You gotta put
pecan
an H in
is
there.
in your meemaw.
We're not
thing.
from Georgia. We're not from Georgia.
P-C-A-H-N. Yeah, pecan.
Pecan.
Oh,
Yeah.
pecan.
Pecan.
Kevin Stevens wants to know, candidate for, what is he running for? Southside City Council. He wants to know, Mayor, are they building some more of those retirement homes by the gymnastic place on Sunbridge Road? Is he-
Actually, it's another apartment complex. It's going to have a portion of those are going to be dedicated for seniors, and that's Johnson's Giant Food. That's not the name of it, but it's Mac Johnson and those guys. They've been so heavily invested in Rainbow City since they moved their corporate headquarters here, and they've just been a really good community partner for us. And they're going to build. I think they're building 65 units, maybe something like that over there. They're already building a waiting list, to get into these, and they're breaking ground now and doing dirt work. So, probably a year and a few months, and we'll fill that one up.
And the only grocery flyer that's going to be delivered in those mailboxes
That's
is
right.
Johnson
It's
Giant
Johnson
Food.
Food.
What food world?
That's right.
You're not
Yeah.
coming in
You
here.
got to go somewhere else. Yeah.
Which, Mac, that is a perfect excuse to put the butcher shop right there.
That's right.
It's got to happen.
Put it in.
It's got to happen.
That's not that hard.
No.
Can't be. I don't go to Knockblue Mountain that often.
Yeah.
That's the butcher shop
Yeah.
for me. And I think butcher shop. I'm going.
Well, I stay on them. They know they feel the pressure that they need to have a little presence in Rainbow City selling retail. So
Well, you don't. But
there you go, Mac. Get on it.
God, I got so many great Mac stores.
Yeah, he's great. I went to school with Lynn and Terry, and so we
That's
go
a-
way back, and we're just old East Side trash, and proud of it. So proud of it. But
Nothing trash about the Johnson family.
no, sir,
Except for
they're
Mac.
good people.
That was good. Actually, Lynn's pretty good.
Lynn's a good one.
I wasn't referring to Lynn.
Mac's the brains of that establishment. Now think about that. He's the brainchild.
We're very thankful for Mr. and Miss Johnson.
Yes,
that's
sir.
all I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
There's a
They
problem
gave
with
him
wrong
copious
sides.
notes.
Never has been a better produce section in the world.
Right.
When he did produce, man, it was passionate. It was Publix before there was a Publix. Yeah, Mr. Johnson, man, was serious about that.
He
You
used to
don't
make that
pick up
floral
this
though.
apple
He'd
and put
spray
an apple over.
He'd spray it with the hose pipe. Remember
doing
that?
That's right.
Hey, so let's get into this since we have you here.
Sure.
And
Speaking of fruits and vegetables,
Sure.
it's
Good
a
segue.
perfect segue.
Good segue.
Some would say. So let's talk about the growth of this, and it seems every time I pass, it's like it's getting bigger and more trucks and more vendors, and
Yeah, it's kind of a unique situation that the mayor's vision for the market kind of everything that you see there has grown out of about four or five growers that kind of
two that were steady, and
yeah,
a couple
yeah.
that would float in and out. But
they had their little spot at the end of the parking lot, and Mayor Taylor asked me one day, he was like, "What do you think we could do to make the market better?" And I thought, well, if you drive by, you can't even see those guys coming from the other way. I said, we're not producing those guys anymore. There's not a lot of growers out there. I said, maybe we could celebrate them a little bit, and pull them out front. And nobody really parks in this center part of the parking lot during the day. It's typically open. And why don't we, I would suggest pulling them up here. And then I was fixing to get in my car and drive off to go do my job. And he's like, it's yours.
Get that done.
Yeah, it's yours.
Which I will say this now, Andy's given me a lot of credit for it being the visionary on this. I did want a better market for the community, but we had no idea. As a matter of fact, I was standing looking out the window last Friday, and I thought, I can't believe he's done this. We literally have them from the far end of the parking lot back. We have a food court almost every day of our market, 3 days a week. And you always wonder when it's going to wane, when it's going to begin to go away or run its course. And this thing's still got legs. I mean, it's growing, and every bit of that. I'd love to take credit, and I'll take it, if
Sure
I
you
ever
will.
have to run for office again. But every bit of that credit goes to Andy Hughes and his wife and his girls and his mom and dad, Tommy's Peanuts. Those guys are out there, and they're loving on people. Now, I don't know that it could be successful any other way, because if you look at some of the other cities, not just surrounding us, but all over
Sure.
the state and the area, they're not successful because they're not gathering those people up. You come in there early in the mornings around 7 o'clock, a little earlier than that, when people get out, and for some reason they like to be out buying tomatoes at 7 o'clock in the morning. It makes no sense at all.
have a few.
Pick them, yeah.
We have a
but-
few, yeah.
yeah. But Andy's got those people, those folks gathered up and having prayer, and I want to see that at my city hall, because a little bit of that might spill over into that building, and that gives me a lot better feeling about the way we're going to be able to run a city.
Well, I love the fact that every time I'm there, you're always talking to someone.
Sure.
I've never been able to walk up and just say hi.
Sure.
But you've never been at your own booth. Not once.
No.
Not once. What am I doing for? I'm going to go to, where's Andy?
Yeah.
He's afraid I'm going to dock his pay.
But if you're quiet, they will hear you because
Sure.
you're talking with
Sure.
somebody.
Sure.
Chick-fil-A was there yesterday?
Yeah. Chick-fil-A is one of our valued food trucks. We're very blessed. The mayor was talking about gathering up and praying. I think with my experience, we had done events before with the Brittle and things like that, and the Lord just seemed to prepare me in a strange way for the market that I didn't realize, obviously, and so to be able to say, when I have 4 or 5 bakers, typically at a market you would hear the market manager or whoever's running that market would say, well, we've already got a baker. When somebody calls you and they say, hey, I lost my job, but I'm really good at doing this, and I want to try. I want to try something, but I don't know if that's what I want to do. We just want to create a place, one, that glorifies God, hands down, right off the bat, and 2, that it's kind of a micro level economic development,
Sure.
and so it's just as daunting for that single mom of 3 to set that table up and put a tent up or invest in a tent, a $40 tent from Academy. It's just as daunting for her to try to do that, and scary, and anxious for her as it would be for us to clear 5 acres of land for a facility that's going to hire 250 people or whatever.
Sure.
So I take that very seriously, and like I said, I've experienced things like that in my life, and if we can extend grace to vendors, and give them that opportunity to set up there, that's a win. And we talk about winning a lot. We talk about
Because you win a lot.
Well, we don't get tired of that,
That's right.
So, but I wish I could take credit for all of it. Those vendors, we're very vendor centered as far as facilitating for them. And if you do that, they appreciate it. And if they appreciate it, they come. And if they come, they set their tents up, and the community can see that there's something there for them. And then, it's just a lot. There's a lot of different facets to it. But I also would be remiss, without mentioning Guy LaPerry in the revenue office, Heather Hill, the ladies that I work with in the revenue office are just amazing women. And if I'm out there, I'm not in the revenue office helping them, or if I'm out there at the market, I'm not out checking business licenses, and they are the anchor to the revenue for the city, and I love working in that office with those ladies. They're amazing women, and they really are undervalued, in what they do. It's a thankless job for what they do. But yeah, the conduit for the city is your revenue department when it comes to business and things like that. So,
And Andy's like me. Downstairs, he's the only guy in a group of women, and I don't know that he was used to that in his previous work experience, but I sure wasn't. And then you've got that. There's a different dynamic when you've got that group of ladies together. But what you do learn is that these women at Rainbow City are extremely bright. And smart and intuitive, and when they give you a little piece of advice, you really need to store it away, because it's going to be something that'll come back for us. We talked about that this morning at break time, that I believe men are just very simple creatures. We're beasts of burden, and I believe that women are put here to nurture and to grow and to help us understand that there's a sensitive side of the world, and these ladies do it. We have freedom in our city hall and in our departments. To be who you are. We don't try to hide from the fact that we love our Lord. We just don't do that. Right. And I'm not going to be a part of anything that does. Right. And you'll see, people become politically correct when it comes to those things. And I'm sorry, when we get together, we pray. Amen. When we start our council meetings, we pray.
Right.
And if you don't like that, you don't have to come. Sure. Or you don't have to pray with us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're okay with that.
Sure.
But you're going to get prayed for.
Absolutely.
You're going to get prayed for.
Absolutely.
Well, let's not brag on Heather Hill too much.
No.
Because I know there's one decision she did make.
Bad.
That's going to haunt her the rest of her life.
Saying.
Rick
No
Hill,
cure for that.
Now, we love Rick, but boy, you want to talk about that? Doesn't make any sense.
Woo. So hey, let's start talking about some of the vendors if we can. First, there's God's Chicken, and that's Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
This is God's Brittle.
Yes.
Thanks to your wife.
Yes.
Let's just talk about some of the other vendors that show up on a regular basis.
Yeah, we have a wonderful Mexican food truck, Los Amazonas. It's run by three sisters out of Atala. They come over and bless us with breakfast burritos. And I don't want to leave anybody out. So we have, when we first started, I didn't know how to recruit. I went to a couple of different markets and I was like, hey, we're going to have a market. You may want to come. But what I didn't realize was that we started out with a small core of people to where, I tell the vendors that this market's not about the money. It's about the community. It's about the relationships that we're going to have with the people that come here. We had a moment where, that the Lord just opened my eyes to a lady that came up to one of our produce vendors. She wanted to buy one tomato. And of course, I'm a salesperson. You're always selling something. So I was helping the vendor there, and I said, "You sure you don't want to buy all those?" And she goes, "Well, it's just me, and it's only me." And she and it just cut me to the bone, of course. And she also said, you guys are the only people I've talked to today, and you want to talk about eye-opening. And so that changed the trajectory of our market right there, that moment. And so I was able to gather those vendors up and tell them, hey, you may be the only person that these people talk to. Yeah. Some of these people talk to. So that was very emotional. But as far as the core group of vendors, it was a couple of growers. Well, they would go to other markets and they would tell people about this emerging market, in Rainbow City that was actually closer to a lot of the vendors. And then before you know it, I was faced with what is this market going to be? Like, I've got people calling me that make jewelry. I've got people that make soap and things like that. That's not necessarily farmers, This is not just produce. And so, of course, consulting with the mayor about what to do and what we wanted that to look like, obviously not a trade day situation or a yard sale, no reselling, anything like that. Had to be handmade, or your artisan touch had to be put on it in some way. And so those people started coming, those people started coming in. We sell shrimp at our market, fresh Gulf shrimp.
Yeah.
And Fresh Gulf Shrimp is one of our vendors. She's an amazing lady. That's Fresh Gulf Shrimp, like that. The name of the group, her business. She's quite the entrepreneur too. So she is very vocal about our market whenever she goes to another market. And so eventually, I would have people just pulling up, and it was kind of a Field of Dreams moment. People would just pull up and say, "Hey, I've got this. Can I set up?" And then you got to learn a different way to do things, because we vet our vendors. We definitely care about what our vendors put out.
Sure.
I look at those vendors like I'm there to shepherd them while I'm out there, and I try to take care of them the best we can. We offer, electrical outlets. I had no idea what a valuable asset electrical outlets would be for a vendor, but they can plug their fan in. They can plug in their cooler. They have access to the restrooms. We unlock the front doors and give them access to the restrooms in the city hall. We provide water and drinks, and to keep everybody from overheating and things like that. And it's just a value to those people that we didn't even understand really what we were providing there. But we've got probably about 5 produce people now that come to the market, and they're from different areas around. We have Humphrey Farms. I visited that farm last weekend. It was weekend before last, and got to see their whole system of how they grow things and how they supplement their things with things that they don't have to give a variety.
Cool.
And we just added Sewell Farms. Mr. Sewell it grows his things. I think he's out towards Ivy, and so we've got the Beasleys from Chandler Mountain, Johnny and Karen Beasley. They're part of the Chandler Mountain group of tomato growers up there, and they come down and
God bless them.
yeah. And one day I got a call from a guy that said I grow mushrooms, and of course you can imagine, okie doke,
bet that.
Yeah, we're gonna check him out. Wildly successful at our market, Equality Farms. They do a better job of educating people about the medicinal uses for turkey tail mushrooms and those types of things. And you can go back through our pictures on the RBC Community Facebook page, RBC Community Market Facebook page, and you can see some of the pictures of the amazing mushrooms. And you can purchase those bags where you just open it. You open the bag, and that mushroom will grow out of there. It's just amazing. They have tinctures that just a little testimonial on that. They sell 3 different tinctures is what it's called. It's just a dropper. You can add it to your coffee, your water. You can just take the drops. We have a gentleman that comes to our market sometimes 2 times a day. He stops at our market 2 times while the market's open, at least 3 days a week, and he tries to support all of the vendors, and that's a good sense of community when people do that. And so he has gout real bad. Some days he has a hard time getting out of his truck. Well, I saw him talking to the Equality Farms people over there, and I saw him buy a bottle of the tincture, and about 3 days later, or the next market or so, he came back. He goes, "Hey, where's those mushroom people?" He said, "I lost that bottle." And he said, "This is the first time in 2 years my feet."
Wow.
So there's all kinds of.
Gotta be careful how you market mushroom, because in certain cities it means something totally different.
Sure, absolutely. But these guys are totally legit. We've vetted them. They're out of Anniston, Equality Farms. We've got several home bakers that adhere to what's called the cottage food license, cottage food law. That means that they've been trained to cook in their home kitchen, what to do, what not to do, what to package. I've been able to work with the Etowah County Health Department and getting myself educated more on that. We adhere to that with our business as well, and we just we're a laid back market, but we do care about what we put out to the community. And let me think of some of the other vendors we just added a small batch. It's called Small Batch Barbecue. They bring barbecue sauce. We've got several people that do plants. If you wanted to buy a tropical plant, English Farm and Gardens, they are very educational. AJ with English Farm and Gardens, he's really good. But our growers, they're kind of the anchor. They're kind of the anchor. I think I tell a lot of people we do special events. We did a pop-up Mother's Day market.
Sure.
And it rained, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I had a lot of first-time vendors, people who just said, "Hey, I've never set up before, but I make these wreaths for doors, or I make these signs. It'd be great for Mother's Day." and I want to give it a try, you know. And I'm like, yeah, right on. Come on, we're gonna fill that parking lot up. Well,
You did.
It rained, and it rained sideways, and also Homestead Hollow was that day. I had no
yeah.
idea, you know. And I thought, well, all right, Lord, it's in your hands. And
Why'd you look at Joe when you said that?
no, it's definitely not the Lord's hands there. But anyway, I was afraid. This is our community in a nutshell. I was afraid that people wouldn't know we were inside. I could post it on Facebook, but a lot of people aren't on Facebook. And so I made a call down to the UPS store. You know, Reed at the UPS store. He's an amazing guy. You need to have him on the show for sure. And I said, Reed, man, do you have any signs that maybe he prints signs there in case people don't know? I said, do you have any signs that you maybe messed up that just have the word inside on it? I was just shooting in the dark. I need to let people know that we're inside. And that was at 8 o'clock. I think the market was going to start at 10 and run to 2 or 3. And within about 45 minutes, he had made signs and brought them up there. And I was like, man, how much do I owe you? He's like, man, you don't owe me a thing. You don't owe me a thing. So shout out to the UPS store and
Great store.
Reed over there. Reed and Kyle are over there. Great guys. But that's just how our community, and also the flags that you see. You see me out there in the morning, you know, nailing them into the ground. I take them up so the guys that cut the grass don't have to deal with it, you know. And so
He's so thoughtful, Joe.
So
It really is. I mean, I think that's what happens with the people that we have, our associates there at Rainbow City. You know, they're looking out for the next guy. And if you look at the market gets put together, and then when they break that market down, there's no sign of it. And that's all intentional.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I'd love to take credit for, you know, being the guy that says you got to clean that up, but I've never had to. I don't have to do that, you know, and it's because we've got people that are adulting out here. They know how to act up, you know, and act right. So
A lot of people don't have that skill.
It's so refreshing, you know, to know that, because going back to what Andy said, that, you know, and I did hope that we could develop a community market that would become a economic development driver and just something that would welcome people into Rainbow City. He far exceeded that. That, you know, we can sit here and give other people credit for it. Andy had to add on a vice president of community marketing, and that's Cody Lassiter. And Cody's
Lassiter.
a big lover of the show. But I can tell you this now, they love Cody Lassiter down there. I don't know why.
He's just different,
You know,
man.
he-
He's so
Cody's
fun.
a good
I like
guy.
that dude.
yeah, I was going to be out for a work conference, and
Yeah.
you know, the market is, like I said, I take ownership of the market, and,
Sure.
and I'm worried about those guys when I'm not out there with them. I want to make sure they have what they need, and I was forced to think about who is emerging in our organization as somebody that really loves the market, you know, and hey, Cody's, you always see him toting a watermelon away from there or something, you know, and I approached him, and of course he was you know, very ready to step up and help.
Well,
and
he's also a pot stirrer,
Yeah.
which I enjoy.
Little bit.
He'll
Yeah,
stir
little
it.
I
bit.
really like that.
He'll stir it. He'll
The
stir
First Lady says, how about those yellow squash, Joe?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling on my delivery process. We may have to start door dashing those things from the market. I got a cantaloupe, you know, a couple of weeks ago because Rachel wanted cantaloupe, and that thing sat in my office to the point where I thought, yeah, that one's probably going to grow mushrooms, and never made it home. It made it into the break room trash can, but the small squash, that it's the Humphreys,
Oh yeah, it's the Humphreys.
and I'm telling you, they have the little squash, and then, you know, Rachel, she cooks like your grandmother, and she'll whip those babies up, and now
said-
I can get the squash home.
She says your assignment is the squash.
Yeah, I struggle on that. I struggle on that cantaloupe because I don't eat it.
Yeah.
You know,
But
Yeah.
the First Lady does.
yes, she does. You know,
So you got Alabama Pizza Company.
Alabama Pizza Company has joined our ranks. We're thrilled to have them. They have added the mini stromboli to the menu. If you haven't had, if you hadn't eaten with Alabama Pizza Company, I mean, just you need to try them out for sure. They care about what they do. They're just a good bunch of people. And I went in there and I said, hey, we got to get you guys to the market somehow. You know, you're local. You're right here. And I said, you know, but yet some people may not turn right there. You know, and I said, let's get y'all over there. and they said, we don't have a tent or a table. And I was like, I got you, you know. So if you'll show up, we'll get you everything that you need. And we were able to do that. They have cannolis and
Say that louder.
cannoli.
Yes.
Yeah, they have very good cannolis. And,
Yeah, they
and
do.
I
the
bet those don't make it home either. do they?
they do sell out most of the time. Most of the time, as a matter of fact, I think, and they also led to another one of our food trucks, KT's Mobile Munchies. I don't know if you guys have tried them. They set up with us the very first time they've ever set up. They came last week, sold out.
Park them next to the mushroom people.
No. They're down there in the food court. I guess
yeah.
we're going to call that the food corner down there, maybe. But
You got a new one coming tomorrow.
Yeah, so Dodd
Chef
comes.
Jason Dodd is bringing his brand new food truck out tomorrow.
All right,
Y'all in
yeah,
for a treat.
yeah.
It's a meat and 2, meat and 3.
Yeah,
I don't know
great.
what his venue's going to. I don't know what he's going to do, but
yeah, we're glad to have them. They have grape ice cream, KT's Mobile Munchies, and they're connected to Alabama Pizza Company. That's their commissary kitchen. And for people that don't know about food trucks, in order to have a food truck, you have to have a base kitchen to work out of, according to the health department. A place where you can go wash your truck, store your goods and things there, empty your grease traps and things. So that is a huge hurdle for a food truck. People don't really realize that. And so you have to have a place for that. And Alabama Pizza Company is the commissary kitchen for KT's Mobile Munchies, and that's another community right there.
I just have one issue with Alabama Pizza Company.
Sure.
They don't live in Rainbow City. They choose to live out with Mayor Reeves in Hoaxball.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Well, I've been
It's
trying
not
to.
nice to have some people.
I've
Just
been.
saying.
I'm a guy that can help them with Rainbow City real estate. So I've tried to persuade them. I'm working on them real hard, but they are deeply rooted there.
They are.
in the Bluff. So and I can see why.
Sorry,
I love,
Scott.
Love the
I
Bluff.
tried.
Yeah, if you look at Alabama Pizza Company, you got to get on TikTok and follow Andre the Pizza Guy.
Dude, he's
He's on live all the time. He's always got music going, and just watching that guy.
good music too.
Yeah,
80s.
yeah, he
90s.
does. He runs that 80s stuff.
Yeah, he's killing
and
it.
he's a lot of fun to watch do his craft.
And Mr. Vice, I'm not going to say he's kin to that guy, but the Mr. Vice,
The basket
those
man.
baskets,
The basket.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
talented.
Very
It's
talented man.
unbelievable.
He
can't hear nothing.
No.
Well, he'll put a basket together in a minute.
Right. That was one of the first things. One of the first things we did, as far as the market and trying to draw people in. I just asked him. I said, "Hey, would you set up a table and make baskets? Show people how to do this." And he just obliged. He's been great, and he gets in there and he's one of our valued vendors. And people, even though, and I tell a lot of people, like a basket may be something that you buy one time, and then you come to the market and you see that basket, and I tell vendors that do those one-time things, we're going to have special events that might fit you better,
Sure.
And if you want to just come one day a month, you're welcome to come and set up one day a month. We had a new guy the other day, and unfortunately, I deal with so many vendors. He makes bracelets. He came to the market the other day, and I explained to him, hey, this might be a special event type thing, maybe not a 3-day-a-week thing, And he did really well, and we were glad to have him. And he said, I'm coming back, So
Well, you buy the basket, then you fill it up with all the stuff.
That's right.
yeah. You
And
see
people do
people.
that,
You see people every day carrying one of the baskets that they bought there to put their produce in. and
We've
things
got a
like
couple of young kids that their dad called me and said, "What do you think about them coming and selling peaches? They need to do some summer work, learn how to work."
Sure.
That's John Dawson and Lawson.
Yeah, and they're
It's a law firm.
Yeah.
they're out in the heat, selling their peaches and they're the youngest kid is just such a salesman. I mean, he just gets up and
Old
makes sure-
souls.
yeah, they're
Old
old
souls.
souls, and these
Heck
kids
yeah.
are learning. They're being raised right, and it's a refreshing thing to see, our older vendors there, and then have two kids pull up in a
Heck yeah.
pickup
They're
truck
doing it.
loaded with peaches and
Heck yeah.
and making their money. So
And we got Three Crow Coffee too.
Yep.
I'd be amiss not to mention
Sure.
Three Crow Coffee. Funky Frank's graces us with their presence every now and then. I'm sure there's a bunch that I've not mentioned, but they all deserve a mention for sure, because they are very dedicated. And
Real quick, tell everybody how to get in contact with you In
You
case
can
they wanna be a part of it.
the best way is through the Facebook page. You can contact me through the Facebook page or come to the revenue office at Rainbow City, and that's really the best ways to get to me. Or come to the market. Stop
Sure.
by the market. I'll be out there. I'll have a floppy hat on, probably a Rainbow City shirt, or I like to wear the local shirts. You'll see me in a Local Joe shirt, or you'll see me in an Alabama Pizza Company shirt or something out there. But yeah, just come find me that way. A direct message on Facebook is probably the easiest way, because I spend most of my off time, on social media trying to get the word out about the vendors that are going to be there, or the community that's there. So
I think that's one thing that probably needs to be said about our community market, is that they truly do have that care for our city, because when we did our Freedom Flight drone show, our third annual, we knew that we needed some people to be there.
Sure.
And Andy got with his market people, and they were just thrilled to death to come out and, set up and sell. And it wasn't going to be their greatest day. They knew
Sure.
that going into it, but they came out anyway and set up and filled some space and gave people something else that they could do with their family. In that, a lot of times the kids are at school, or one of the parents or the other are at work, or both, and this was a chance for them to kind of enjoy and consume, our community market and grow our market on those 3 days a week by having them at our special event. So, that's another idea that Andy had, and him and Philip Hollingsworth brought that together. Philip kind of slid the food court off to Andy. We could see that one coming, and we were able to
Well played.
well played, and we were able to put together just a great event, and that comes from our Parks and Recreations guy and our license inspector, and those guys put that other portion of that event together, and it's something I didn't have to think about,
Heck yeah.
and
That's a good day.
makes for a good day. for
Philip
me.
did a really good job there directing, and if somebody came to me with a question that I didn't know, I just sent them to Philip. But he was right there in the midst of everything. Just like you would expect from him when you see anything in Parks and Rec. Philip is on top of it. So
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
yeah,
That's what he
Mr.
called
Mayor.
Are you
Mr.
doing
Mayor.
any speaking engagements?
I'm sorry, do
Or do you do any speaking engagements?
No,
you
no,
don't.
I don't. I
You
don't.
should.
No,
You
sir.
You should.
missing out.
Yeah,
No,
you
sir.
should. I'm sitting here the whole time thinking,
He's trained
you're
preacher
missing
now.
it, son. You
There's no question.
got it, son. I
Thank
love
you.
it. Everybody's giving you shout outs, saying great job, Andy.
Thank you.
And how cool is it, real quick before we go, how cool is it that you have a mayor that just says, hey, do it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing, is what it is. I mean, I was thinking about coming on here and how to even frame all of it. It's hard to put into words the different aspects of what a blessing it's been to me and my job. Municipal workers, especially that work in compliance. It's not always the best thing to have to do, because you can't talk about it with anybody. You can't. But out there in that market, in that arena, you can really converse with people and build those relationships, and humans were made for that. We're made to be together. And so, it's just a blessing. There's no coincidence that Mayor Taylor's our mayor. There's no coincidence that Rainbow City is such a great place to be right now. I'm glad to be part of it. Every facet of our life, whether it be our real estate or our business or whatever it is, working at Rainbow City is a blessing. The people there are amazing. So, it's a real blessing.
Jeff, you want to end with we got to get a Jameson Jenkins.
Do we really?
We got to. We can't get through a show without.
Can we
talking
not?
about-
Come on,
we
Jameson.
can.
Councilman Jenkins says that's what sets Rainbow City's employees apart. Nobody says that's not my job. They
That's
just come
true.
together and make it happen.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
And just today over at that ribbon cutting, I had Tim Ramsey, the county commissioner. He's very involved in doing work with veterans and mental health needed necessary areas, you know, with CED Mental Health, and he's
Sure.
on their board. And Tim and I had been talking about, you know, you have to have these certain types of developers that would go in and do work, you know, and develop things for him, whether it's in Rainbow City or outside. And, you know, he was at his county commission meeting this morning, and I was texting him during the little ceremony and said, you got to get down here. These are the people that you need to meet. And you know, Tim shows up, and I bolt to come down here. But, you know, being able to put people together and do that unselfishly, you know, you'll hear mayors say, you know, it's my job to take care of my city. Well, we know that. You got elected to do that job. That's kind of a pathetic position to take. It's my job to look out for everybody that comes inside my city, and you can bet during the day, probably 3/4 of those people or more are not from my city. They don't sleep here. And, you know, but it's still my job to take care of them. You know, it's our job and the job of Camp Yancey and Tim McKee, our police and fire chiefs, to see to the safety of everybody that crosses our border. And you know, and that's our intent, is to take care of those people. And that's done by I think good authority from the leadership, and I think we have good leadership in our city. But being able to give that responsibility over to the people that work for us and know that they're wanting to do good work. And this is just another example of that. I call on Andy for, you know, when I have a real estate question. There's nothing like having a realtor working for you, you know, and there's times when he gets shortchanged, you know, that I'm looking at a real estate deal, and I'll say, can you look at this? And he'll look at it, and there's no chance that he can ever get a commission from it.
Yeah.
You know, and just knowing that I can call on him as a subject matter expert. I have that in several areas, you know, throughout the government, because of what people have done in their previous life, you know, and that's just hard to beat.
Well, you may get a commission on this one, because the Alabama Pizza Company said find her some farmland.
That's
and
right.
she may make a deal.
That's right.
It's in the notes. She put it in the notes.
Tell her done. If
Yeah,
that's Ashton,
that-
tell
it
her
is.
it's
It's Ashton.
done, Ashton. It's
Yeah.
done. I got you a place.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, everybody, stay close, stay clean. Thank you, Mayor Taylor. Thank you, Andy, for being here. Jerry, not so much.